And our word for today on this Thursday of the 15th week in Ordinary Time, this Thursday, July the 18th, our word for today is desire. Desire, our word for today. And here to talk about it, Andrew Reinhart. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Dave and Ron. How are you?
Wonderful. Doing great. How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Our word for the day is desire. And this is from our first reading, which is from the prophet Isaiah. What's interesting to understand during this time of the prophet Isaiah, we hear him most during Advent. He has these great prophecies of the coming of Jesus and these comforting words for his people. But the prophet Isaiah is an interesting prophet because he spans, he's a prophet to the northern kingdom or to the southern kingdom of Israel, and the people are conquered. And then he's also a prophet for the people while they're in exile. So he has both challenging words for the people who are in need of reform because their success as a nation state is contingent on their faithfulness to the Lord. But then he also has a lot of comforting words for the people while they're in exile, that God's going to bring them home, that God's going to save them, that God's going to redeem them. So today we have a part here that's, I think, one of the challenging parts of Isaiah. He says, "The way of the just is smooth, the path of the just you make level. Yes, for your way and your judgments, O Lord, we look to you. Your name and your title are the desire of our souls. My soul yearns for you in the night. Yes, my spirit within me keeps vigil for you. When your judgment dawns on the earth, the Lord's inhabitants learn justice." When the Lord's judgment dawns on earth, its inhabitants learn justice. I'm thinking of this in the context of the story of the people of Israel. What's the Lord's judgment that dawns on earth? The chosen people are conquered by the Babylonians and sent into exile. Right? Ultimately, that's justice. The people didn't deserve a kingdom. They didn't deserve independence. They didn't deserve the promised land. They didn't deserve the law. We don't deserve any of it. We don't, in our context, deserve Jesus Christ himself. We don't deserve the sacraments. The scriptures are that all have sinned and fallen short of the grace of God, and that the wages of sin is death. So justice would have just been leaving us to die. In the divine economy, we have to realize that justice isn't what God gives us. God gives us an overabundant, generous love, which we do not deserve. God always initiates the gift of faith in our life. God always is that peace offering that we don't deserve. And so what the Lord does in our life is always just, whether it's what we want to happen or what we don't want to happen. And it's by receiving what the Lord does in our life with openness, with love and humility, that we learn what justice is. Right? So often, I think back to my own life of, all the prayers I've had in my 20 years of following the Lord, and I think of so many of the prayers I made early on in my walk. And I wonder if God had granted all those things right away, who would I be today? Right? I would have been the person I wanted to be, but I wouldn't have been the person the Lord wanted me to be. I think I would be more I think I'd be more prideful, more vain. I would have a higher esteem of myself and my own virtue. And I wouldn't have the kind of reliance on the Lord I have now. Because the Lord didn't answer my prayers the way that I was expecting, the way that I wanted, because the outcomes weren't what I thought was best for me, but were what the Lord thought was best for me, I had to wrestle with those things. Oh, Lord, why have you let the spice continue in my life? Oh, Lord, why have you not given me X, Y, and Z? Oh, Lord, why did these bad things happen? Oh, Lord, why? Right? And by doing that wrestling with the Lord, we come to learn justice. We come to learn our absolute poverty in the face of God's riches. Right? And that's reality. That's reality. And that's the place where we, I think, come into touch with the truth. Our gospel today says, Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are labored and burdened, and I will give you rest." Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And we find this when we're in a posture of complete surrender, complete abandonment to the Lord's will. When we're letting go of our desires, our way, our preference, and we're fully embracing God's preference. So our word for the day is desire.
Love it. Love it, Andrew. And I think about my early walk with the Lord, saying to him at one point, Lord, I would die for you. And I sensed him saying back, try living for me first. You know, let's one step at a time here.
The famous words of St. Peter.
Yeah. Thank you, Andrew.
Beautiful. Have a wonderful day, and stay tuned. More reports from the National Eucharistic Congress, and then again we'll have Pat Odie on tomorrow morning.